One night, Dick decided he could stand it no more. Early the next morning, before the cook was up, he set out with his cat to seek his fortune elsewhere. The two of them walked as far as Holloway. The two of them walked as far as Holloway. On their way out of London, then Dick sat down on a stone to rest. It was the 1st of November, All Saints' Day, and the church bells were ringing. As Dick sat and listened, it seemed they were ringing out a message for him. Turn again, Whittington, thou worthy citizen, Lord Mayor of London. Lord Mayor of London? Said Dick. I should like to be Lord Mayor and ride in a fine coach. I can put up with a few scoldings from the cook if that is what is in store for me. So Dick and his cat retraced their steps to Mr. Fitzwarren's house. Luckily, they were able to slip back before they had been missed. One night, Dick decided he could stand it no more. Stand it no more means he could not bear it anymore. So it was beyond which he could bear. Early the next morning, before the cook was up, so before the cook got up from her bed, he set out with his cat to seek his fortune elsewhere. So he did not want to stay over there and go and try his fortune at some other place. The two of them walked as far as Holloway on their way out of London. Then Dick sat down on a stone to rest. It was the 1st of November, and the 1st of November, All Saints' Day, and the church bells were ringing. So 1st of November is All Saints' Day, and they were celebrating. The bells were ringing, church bells were ringing. As Dick sat and listened to it, they were ringing out a message for him. So what was the message? The message was loud and clear. Turn again, Whittington, thou worthy citizen. You're worth it. You deserve it. You are a worthy citizen. You are an important person. You will become Lord Mayor of London. So, in the future, you are going to become a mayor of London. That is a very important post. Lord Mayor of London, said Dick. I should like to be Lord Mayor and ride in a fine coach. I can put up with a few scoldings. Put up with means to be able to bear. So even if the cook scolds him, so it would be okay, because ultimately he is going to become the mayor of London. So if that is what is in store for me, so he thought, if it is in store for me means it is fixed in his future. In his future, he is going to become the mayor of London. So Dick and his cat retraced that steps. Retrace the steps means going back by the way they came. Retrace means to go back in the same direction. And they went back to Fitzwarren's house. Luckily, they were able to slip back before they had been missed. Means nobody could come to know they had been missed. Means the people should not feel that they had been missed, and they would start searching. If Dick hadn't returned in time, then they would have found him missing, and they would have started searching him. So before that could happen, Dick was lucky enough to be back in the house. Now Mr. Fitzwarren used to send ships far across the sea to trade with other countries. So he had ships which he would send He was a businessman. Fitzwarren was a businessman, and he would send his ships to trade. To trade means to carry out business with other countries. Like East India Company, they used to send their ships, and they would trade spices from India. Similarly, Mr. Fitzwarren also had ships. So he was a businessman, and he was carrying out a trade. He was importing things from the other countries. He would load a ship with goods for the captain and ship's crew to sell in far away places. So things were carried out where they were available to places where they were not available, and that's how they did their business. And then they would bring back goods that could be sold at home. So from London, they used to send some things from London. They used to export certain things which could be sold in other countries, and the ship would become empty now. So they would load things from here, from the other countries, and bring back to London, and that's how they carried out their business. Import export. One day he called his household together. So all the members in the house were called together. I am sending a ship to the African coast to trade, he said. Would any one of you like to send something of yours on it? You can then share in the profits if the voyage is successful. Everyone produced something except for Dick, who had nothing to offer. Have you nothing of your own, Dick? Asked Mr. Fitzwarren kindly, and Dick replied, Only my cat. So one day he called all the people in the house and said that he was sending a ship to to African coast in order to carry out some business or trade. He would any one of you like to send something of yours on it? So he gave the option to the people. If they wanted to sell something, then they could send it through the ship, and you can then share in the profits if the voyage is successful. If the ship goes successfully and sells the things and comes back without being damaged or without being robbed, then it is a successful voyage. If the voyage becomes successful, then Mr. Fitzwarren offered share of the profits. Everyone produced something, means the people there had something to give in order to sell, except for Dick. Dick had nothing to sell. Have you nothing of your own, Dick? Mr. Fitzwarren kindly asked kindly, and Dick replied, Only my cat. So Dick did not have anything other than cat. Then let your cat go on the ship, said Mr. Fitzwarren. His daughter Alice said, Dick loves his cat. Let me put something in for him. So Alice came to the help of Dick and said that Dick loves his cat, so he would not be able to give away his cat. Let me put something in for him. So Alice wanted to give something on behalf of Dick. Him means on behalf of Dick. But her father said, No, it must be his. No, it should belong to Dick only, not something belonging to someone else. That thing, whatever Dick wants to give, it should belong to Dick only. It should not belong to someone else. So Dick fetched his cat and said goodbye to it sadly. So Dick fetched his cat, brought his cat. Dick fetched his cat, brought his cat, and said goodbye to it sadly. But he was very sad. While parting away with the cat, he was quite sad enough. The captain of the ship was delighted. Delighted was very happy. For the cat was an excellent mouser. For the cat was excellent mouser. You know the cat, they catch the mice, the mouse and the rat. So this cat was an excellent mouser. He could catch it excellently, all the mice. And so he had no trouble with rats and mice on his voyage. So if the cat is available, then there will be no rats and mice. All the rats and mice will be eaten away by the cat. After some months, the ship arrived at a place on the African coast, Barbary, where people called the Moors lived. So there was a place on the African coast, and that place was known as Barbary. Barbary. People, Moors lived on that coast. In Barbary, you will find Moors living. The captain sent a message to the king to say that he had fine goods for sale, and he was invited to the palace to show them. So, when the captain arrived at Barbary, he sent a message. So, you had to inform the king that something to sell has come on the ship. So, he had fine goods for sale, and then the king invited him. He was invited to the palace to show the goods, to show fine goods which were there in the ship. While he was talking to the king and queen, some dishes of food were brought in. But almost immediately rats and mice ran up, and before the captain's eyes ate all the food. So there were so many rats and mice in the palace that they all ate away the food before the captain's eyes. Means captain saw them eating the food. All the food was finished. The captain was astonished. Surprised. The captain was surprised and asked if this was what normally happened. So he asked, he was surprised and he was angry also. So he asked of the people in the palace that, is it normal, the thing which has happened? Does it normally happen every time? Alas, yes, came the reply. The country is suffering from a plague of rats and mice. So the people there said that the country is suffering from a plague of rats and mice, means a lot of rats and mice are there. And we cannot get rid of them. The rats and mice, there are so many that they cannot get rid of them. I think I may have the answer on my ship, said the captain. Answer means it should be a mouser, a cat. A cat is a good mouser. So that is the solution. If you have cats in the palace, then all the mice and rats would be eaten up by the cat. And he sent a message asking for Dick's cat to be brought to the palace. So the cat was brought to the palace. More food was laid out, and the rats and mice appeared as before. The cat immediately pounced, killing at least a dozen before they scattered. Everyone was delighted, and the queen asked, "What do you call this animal?" "Puss is the name she answers to," said the captain. Puss is the name she answers to. That means the animal is called by the name Puss. And when the queen called Puss Puss, the queen said Puss Puss, and the cat went over to her and purred. Purred means make some sort of noise, which the cats usually do when they are stroken. When you bring, if we call the cats Puss Puss, they would come to you, and then they would make a sort of noise, which is known as purring of the cat. The queen was a little alarmed at first, as she had seen how fiercely the cat had attacked the rats and the mice. But the captain told her not to be anxious. The queen, she had seen the animal for the first time. She had seen the cat for the first time. And when she saw it, she had seen that the cat was killing the rats and mice. So she initially was afraid of the cat. As she called Puss Puss and the cat went to her, she got frightened. But the captain told her not to be anxious, not to worry. Puss is very friendly. Puss is very friendly with people, he said, and would soon rid your kingdom of rats and mice. I would give great wealth to own this animal, said the queen. So the captain began bargaining. Bargaining means, suppose the shopkeeper says 100 rupees price, then you say no, you give it to me for 80 rupees. Then he would say no, I would reduce 5 rupees, and I would give it for 95 rupees. Then again you bargain, no, I will pay 85. Then ultimately, suppose you agree to pay 90 rupees, then that is your bargain price. So this is the bargain. Usually it happens in the marketplace. So the captain began bargaining. So the captain wanted more and more price for the cat, and it was agreed that the king would buy the whole cargo. Cargo means all the things which were there in the ship from Mr. Fitzwarren's ship, to pay a fine price for it, and he would pay a very good amount for the cargo. And the cat alone, the king paid 10 times the sum again. Suppose the cargo was for 1 million rupees, then the king would pay 10 million rupees for the cat. That was what the king paid for the cat. When the ship came back to the port of London, the captain showed Mr. Fitzwarren the gold and the jewels he had brought from Barbary, and told him the story of the cat. The merchant sent for Dick. From now on, Dick, he said, we should all call you Mr. Whittington, for you are a rich man. Mr. Fitzwarren then paid him all the money the captain had received for the cat. From this time on, Dick worked with Mr. Fitzwarren and became a successful merchant himself. So Dick also became a successful merchant. He married Mr. Fitzwarren's daughter Alice, and 3 times he was elected Lord Mayor of London. He was also in time knighted by the king and became Sir Richard Whittington. He was not only famous, but he was popular too, for he always helped the poor with his money. Sometimes when he was old, he would tell his grandchildren the story of his cat, and how the bells of London had called him back when he was only a poor boy. So from that time onwards, Dick started working for Mr. Fitzwarren and became a successful merchant himself. So he also started trading. He married Mr. Fitzwarren's daughter Alice, and three times he was elected Lord Mayor of London. So he was rich, he was married, and then he stood for elections and he was elected as the Lord Mayor of London. Not only that, he was also in time knighted by the king. Knighted means a title is given to the person. So the king gave him the title of Sir Richard Whittington. So what was the title? The title was Sir Richard Whittington. He was not only famous but he was popular too. People become famous by doing certain things. But here he was working for the poor. He always helped the poor with his money. So he became popular too. Sometimes when he was old, when he became old, when he became grandfather, he would tell the grandchildren the story of his cat and how the bells of London had called him back, and when he was only a poor boy. So he had heard the message that he should not go, he should come back. So he became the Lord Mayor of London. So, what was the message as a poor boy? What message had he received? Turn again, Whittington, thou worthy citizen, Lord Mayor of London. So, this was the message which he had received on the day he was about to leave London for some other place.